Earthquake swarm reaches 878 events in just 2 weeks. This is an article available at Newsweek, also Yahoo. And I did some research. It's actually more than 800 earthquakes. But one thing that always sparks interest is when the title makes it sound very doomy. And then just a couple lines later, it's like, oh, there's no big deal. There's nothing to worry about. And I did some research, guys. It's hot in Yellowstone right now. It is extremely hot. I did some math, over 1,000 earthquakes the past 30 days and over 878 just the past 2 weeks. So when you break that down, let's say that there is 1,054. Well, let me show you this. Let's just do the math here. You see right here, if you go to the USGS website, volcanoes.usgs.gov, the monitoring instruments and data in Yellowstone is showing 1,054 earthquakes in the region. This is the past 30 days. And you can see the math right here. I picked 30 days, the magnitude, the range, 1,054. You times that by 12, you've got 12,648 earthquakes. Now, if we were to do if we wanted to take the current rate of 878 in 2 weeks, do the math on that. So you're talking 439 times 12. I'm sorry, 439 times 52. You would get $1 million. You would get 22,828 earthquakes. So if it keeps it up, folks, we're looking at 22,000 earthquakes over the next year. Now, is that normal? Well, it says here that after they've updated over 800 earthquakes around Yellowstone National Park, and many of these are an ongoing swarm taking place on the western edge of the park. Let me quote this. But there is virtually no risk of the volcano erupting. The United States Geological Survey currently lists the volcano alert level as normal, and the aviation color, which lists the potential risk to flights, is at green. Well, interesting, because if you do the math on this, and we have 22,000 volcanoes over the next year, what's the average? Well, approximately 1 to 3,000 earthquakes each year occur around the Yellowstone area. Most of those are not felt. This is directly from the nps.gov. So that means we have had around Yellowstone as many earthquakes in 2 weeks, just a little bit over 2 weeks, as the average in 1 year. And they say there's nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about, folks. Just continue to suck down your diet soda, eat your genetically modified E. coli feces, take your Valium, take your lithium pills, take your fluoride drinks, and you'll be okay. Think about that. 1,000 to 3,000 earthquakes occur each year, approximately. We're on track to beat that 8-fold, 7-fold, if not more. Now, if you take a look at this chart right here, this gives you a perspective on what it would be like if there was a weak plume versus a strong plume. I think this was actually in Iceland. That Iceland volcano right there, that was a weak plume. If you compare that to a strong plume, you're going to have a lot more catastrophic situations. Now, I also wanted to go back to the online library.wiley.com that shows you the distance from the volcano, the average thickness of ash cover. And ash cover is a big deal. Last time I talked, I made it sound like it wasn't really that big of a deal in some areas. It's a big deal. It's a big deal for your... I've had people a lot more intelligent than myself say, Rex, it's a big deal, and here's why. Because it can get in your lungs, it can get in your body, it can collapse roofs. With rain, it gets heavy. It's a big deal. So my apologies for sounding as if it wasn't a huge deal in certain areas, when indeed it can be a big deal. And this isn't fear porn, you guys. This is the real deal. This is the data. So if you don't want to hear about it, please just turn it off and go watch something else. Go find something more contributive to do for society, yourself, your friends, your family. And if you don't have any of them, if you just got yourself, Well, take care of yourself. Be well. Let's take a look here. Albuquerque. The average thickness is going to be 24.9 millimeters, which is about an inch thick. The minimum would be 4.1, the maximum 73. Now you divide 24, if you want to do the math, or you take 25.4 millimeters equals an inch. So we start looking through here. Atlanta should be okay. Austin should be okay. Billings is going to be in big trouble. Boise, it's going to fill it. Boise's going to fill it. I think that if you have the right model set up, if you're prepared, you should be able to weather the storm in Boise if you're prepared. Calgary, it's going to get a little bit over an inch is the average. Could get more than that, definitely. These are models. These are, this is data that has been put together based on previous data and very fast-performing computers and intelligent people that put the models together as well. Casper, it's going to fill it. Casper is looking at 516 millimeters of an average. So you're talking about 20 inches. About 20 inches. Let me just double check that real quick. 516, divide that by 24 and a half. Yeah, about 21 inches. And that's the average. It could get a lot more. So Casper's definitely going to fill it. Cheyenne, it's going to get about 7 inches. Chicago, shouldn't be too intense. Denver, should be okay. Des Moines, yeah. I'm looking, Flagstaff, you're good. Kansas City, should be okay. Maybe a little bit over an inch, average. Knoxville is not going to see much. Lincoln's going to see a little. Little Rock, here's another thing interesting. Little Rock, Arkansas, where all the banks are. Bank to human ratio is very bizarre out there. Not going to see a whole lot. LA, not a whole lot. LA's got other opportunities to deal with. Miami, not much. Minneapolis, you'll be okay. At least in ashfall, in my opinion. There's going to be a little bit. You got to be prepared for it. Missoula, it's gonna get about almost 10 inches average. Let's see here. Let's scroll through here a little bit more. Rapid City. Rapid City is going to get about 8 inches. So it's something that people will need to be prepared for. Now, if you've got a concrete dome bunker that was built by the military to store munitions, 10 inches of ash, even solidified, it will be able to withstand that much weight and then some. Although Rapid City is definitely going to fill it. St. Louis, according to these models, St. Louis, you should be okay. Salt Lake City is definitely going to fill it. Salt Lake City is going to have more than Rapid City, and that's interesting because Salt Lake City, the Department of Defense, the National Security Agency, has dumped billions of dollars into Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City is a hub. It is a data center of multitudes. There's a ton of stuff going on in Utah and Salt Lake City. It's a lot like Denver. It's like Denver's little brother that you don't hear as much about. San Francisco, no, not much. Seattle, not much. Toronto, not much. DC, not much. Winnipeg, not much. So there you have it. There's some data for you. Keep an eye on the charts. Keep an eye on what's going on in Yellowstone. And now you know what to look for. And then if we come up here and you want to look at these charts again real quick before I close out, I want to share these charts with you just to give you an idea as well what the models look like in comparison. Texas does have some good weather. It doesn't seem too intense. Texas has got a lot of good things going for it and a lot of bad things going for it, in my opinion. I don't want to be in Texas when an SHTF scenario goes down. I would much rather be in South Dakota, especially out there in southwest South Dakota in my bunker / studio. Although, you're going to have your... Now, here's another thing that I wonder. If it gets super intense like this, what's it going to do for the crops? What's it going to do to the atmosphere and the ozone with as bad a shape as it's already in? Now, this is showing the thickness results from a 3-day-long Yellowstone eruption using 2001 wind fields. Now, here's another thing that they can do if this happens, is the government can manipulate the jet stream. So they can move where they want a lot of this stuff to go. And you guys know they know how to do that. They've been doing it for years. Look at the jet streams now versus 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. It gets more bizarre by the day. So there you have it. Thank you for listening. Make sure to subscribe, leakproject.com, also youtube.com/clandestine time lord. Question everything. Make sure to also keep your eyes open if you're out there around Yellowstone. Think about that one more time. I just want to, past 30 days, 1,000 earthquakes. So let's just take the 30-day model. 12,000 plus earthquakes. Be like 13,200 earthquakes approximately. That is at least 4 to 13 times the normal amount. There's literally been as many earthquakes the past 30 days as there has been in a whole year. Many years for an entire year. And they're saying there's no way that an earthquake could happen. Now, that's what actually made me question this even more. When I go back to this article here, and it says, after they have that title to spook you a little bit, so you'll click on it, then you read it, and then the second paragraph, but there is virtually no risk of volcano erupting. So, because they haven't raised the alert level, you're going to use that as the reason there's no risk? That's how these reporters work, you guys. I mean, Hannah Osborne, great reporter. I'm referring to the powers that be that use certain terms. Like, oh, we don't got anything to worry about because the government hasn't raised the levels yet. Well, do you think that because the government hasn't raised the levels yet, that you have nothing to worry about, even though you can specifically see that the levels have increased by at least 13 times, possibly 22 times, possibly 52 times the amount? Think about that. Almost 1,000 earthquakes in 2 weeks. So that'd be 500 a week. So over 20 times, I apologize. Over 20 to 25 times the amount. 2,500% increase in earthquakes. And there's nothing to worry about, folks. Don't worry about it because they haven't raised the levels yet. I would think about your opportunities right now if you're in that area, because you're going to have very little time if something goes down. So I would just be prepared. Like, I would have a game plan to get out of Dodge if you need to. It's good to do that in any situation, no matter where you live. There's always things that can happen. I'm not saying freak out about it. I'm saying be prepared, because if you're prepared, at least you have a chance. Now, I'm going up to South Dakota to X Point in August. I hope to see you guys there. Sturgis is going to be amazing. If you're interested in having an off-grid bunker set up, a place that you could go if things got really bad with many situations. And another thing I like about this place in South Dakota is it's not close to any nuclear reactors. I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere, literally. Yet, it's 20 minutes away from a small town, and it's 25 minutes away from the Black Hills, and it's 2 hours away from Sturgis. It's about an hour and 20 minutes approximately away from Mount Rushmore. It's beautiful out there, and you're not going to see cell phone towers every 5 feet, and Taco Bells, and Walmarts, and urgent cares, and liquor stores, and fast food joints, and strip malls, and neurolinguistic programming. I shouldn't say neurolinguistic. Neurological programming and neurolinguistic programming, transmitter, receiver, antennae. So anyway, welcome to the New World Order, ladies and gentlemen. The new New World Order, I should say. Question everything. Check out terravivos.com if you are interested in knowing more about X Point and these bunkers. They're like 2,000 square feet. They're made out of concrete, still enforced. They're awesome. And also, you've got a couple hundred feet approximately on each side of you for space, if you want to have some crops and stuff like that. Plus, these are big enough that you could actually have crops inside with some type of either hydroponic setup, or you could set up some type of fiber optics outside of there with a filtration system as well. And then water will be supplied to these via underground well. Robert has confirmed that, the founder of Terra Vivos. These things are going to be fitted with NBC filtration systems, nuclear, biological, chemical filtration systems as well. They're awesome, seriously. And I'm hoping that I can just go there whenever I want for my studio to get away from the grid, not because I need to. They're big enough that you could actually grow crops inside of the facility. And you could do, like I said, some type of hydroponic system or some type of setup to where the fiber optics would go outside with solar panels, or find a way to get light, which is information, I guess, back into your bunker. And if you've got like a trailer or a fifth wheel or a motorhome, you could park it right next to your bunker. You got motorcycles, you like to do the Sturgis event. Think how cool it would be to have a place 2 hours away with a beautiful motorcycle ride up to Sturgis and back. Hopefully nothing ever goes bad, so you can go to Sturgis every year and have a blast. Go to Mount Rushmore, Keystone. Go check out Devil's Tower in Wyoming. Awesome. Awesome area out there. Plus the radiation levels. For something bizarre, I'm just going to throw this out there real quick. The radiation levels are approximately 12 times higher once you get to the actual Devil's Tower. Like, I've got pictures of me next to Devil's Tower with my watch showing levels at 0.60 microsieverts per hour. Outside of the park, they were as little as 0.04. Very interesting, isn't it? So, there you go. Have a beautiful day. Question everything. And also, one other note I want to throw out there for you. Click on the Quick Bivy link, you guys. These things are like cheap. You can pick up a couple of them for, I think, $60, somewhere around there. They're awesome. And they will literally keep you warm, help keep you warm if you get in a situation where you need to stay warm and you weren't prepared. They fit in the palm of your hand. Literally, they're a few ounces. They fit in the palm of your hand. You could put it in your backpack, your glove box. You could put it under your car seat. You could put it in the center console. You could put it in your pocket. You know, some people like I literally know people that take bug out bags with them to work. I used to be that guy. And then I thought to myself, I'm 15 miles away from my house. Why do I need to take a whole bug out bag with me? I can walk home in I can run home in a couple hours if I need to. I could ride my bike to work in 45 minutes or less. 15 miles each way. I mean, I was in tune back in, when was that? 2011? Fortune 100 company. I'm divagating. I apologize. Those were the days when I worked for the corporate Borg. But I'll tell you, if you have to work for a corporate Borg, the corporate Borg that I worked for at the time was pretty cool. So anyway, I'm done. Thank you guys. LeakProject.com. Be excellent to each other and be the change you want to see. Here. You see right here, if you go to the USGS website, volcanoes.usgs.gov, the monitoring instruments and data in Yellowstone is showing 1,054 earthquakes in the region. This is the past 30 days. And you can see the math right here. I picked 30 days, the magnitude, the range. 1,000 earthquake swarm reaches 878 events in just 2 weeks. This is an article available at Newsweek, also Yahoo. And I did some research. It's actually more than 800 earthquakes. But one thing that always sparks interest is when the title makes it sound very doomy, and then just a couple times 52, you would get $1 million. You would get 22,828 earthquakes. So if it keeps it up, folks, we're looking at 22,000 earthquakes over the next year. Now, is that normal? 54, you times that by 12, you've got 12,648 earthquakes. Now, if we were to do if we wanted to take the current rate of 878 in 2 weeks, do the math on that. So you're talking 439 times 12. I'm sorry, 439 times lines later. It's like, oh, there's no big deal. There's nothing to worry about. And I did some research, guys. It's hot in Yellowstone right now. It is extremely hot. I did some math, over 1,000 earthquakes the past 30 days and over 878 just the past 2 weeks. So when you break that down, let's say that there is 1,054. Well, let me show you this. Let's just do the math.